Welcome to the Pitmaster Podcast. We're barbecue competition competitors that aim to share information, advice, tips, and tall tales about our favorite pastime. Head over to the pitmasterpodcast.com for all things Pitmasters, or follow us on your favorite social media platform. And now, here are the hosts of the Pitmaster Podcast, the two-time grand champion, SCA World Champion finalist, and barbecue specialist of Smoke Ain't No Joke Barbecue, the Anthony Luan, and the 24-time grand and reserve grand champion, reserve world grand champion, Windover High Roller champion, and the founder of Pitmaster Barbecue Supply Company stores in Utah, the old man himself from Big Johnson's Barbecue, Jesse Johnson.
This is Greg Rempe from the Barbecue Central Show, and you are listening to the Pitmasters Podcast, and they are doing it live.
We'll do it live.
That's right, Bill. I just said that. They're going to do it live.
We'll do it live.
Yes, live. They're going to do it live.
What's up, Pitmasters? Hey, Jesse, how's it going, my man?
Good, man. How you doing on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon in sunny, warm Utah?
Not too bad. It's nice. It went from blistering cold to warm, and it's supposed to get a ridiculously warm this weekend. So
It's supposed to be getting in the 80s this week.
right, it makes me nervous, man. And we're gonna melt all the snow in about 3 minutes.
I think it's a precursor for some big winter storms in the late March and early April.
You think so? Right in
Yeah.
the middle of your competition on the 4th?
Well, hopefully not. Not on the 4th. Hopefully we're 80 degrees and sunny on the 4th. We're getting all the teams signed up right now. It's been
Right.
fun. So
Yeah, so that's kind of a backyard event.
yeah, backyard pros can enter it. They just can't win anything. They can get their scores so they can kind of get almost like a refresher course on some chicken and ribs.
Mhm.
And then just get some feedback on their barbecue, and then everybody ready for Blue Compass Barbecue Bash on May 1st and 2nd. That should be fun. We're over 20 teams now.
That is
So
awesome.
yeah, it's filling up, and we had a really cool meeting on Saturday with some of the local teams to talk about how we're going to let teams vend at that event for Blue Compass, and just kind of, okay, what do you guys want to see? What do you want to do? Because we're going to do the hot dog competition brought to you by Bingham's Meats up in Morgan. So we're going to do that on Friday. And then Saturday will be normal, but we're going to start vending. All the teams that want to vend, they can start vending at 2:00, go all the way to awards at 5. And then once awards are over, they can finish up and sell the rest of their barbecue till about 7:00. So should be fun.
That is awesome. Vending is a lot of work. I hope the Chris's do it, and man, it's a lot of work. Shout out to everybody who does it.
Slinging barbecue is not an easy
Right.
thing. People think
It
it's
really
so,
isn't.
you got it all made and everything else. But
Yeah.
when you're helping customers, you don't want to have that big long line or a wait in your line. You got to hustle. It's like
Yeah.
Trevor Johnson from Primetime Barbecue up in Colville. He timed me one time out at Windover. He goes, you could make a lot more money if you sped up your time per customer.
Yeah.
He timed us like at a minute 45.
Yeah,
So
you need to be like 45, 35.
Well, I challenged the team the next year. I said, if we can get it close to a minute, I'll give everybody $100 tip for the day.
Awesome.
And we got it to 43 seconds.
Awesome.
That's slinging. So
That really, really is, man. Yeah. And then after your event, the Blue Compass event, man, that we go straight into the Caveman Cookout. Which is amazing.
Yeah, Caveman Cookout with Nate Benson down in Utah County. It's a good fundraiser for their school, for their band program. But unfortunately, there's also a big KCBS event in Grand Junction, Colorado with Arlie Bragg. He's one of the best promoters in barbecue, I think. He puts on a great contest, so he's got that same weekend. So hopefully Nate won't get hurt too bad with it, but hopefully he gets a good amount of teams. So
Right. Yeah. It's just, it literally goes from 0 to 100 in the month of May. It's crazy. Hardly any competitions, and then it's on.
Press the gas pedal. Let's go, baby.
Exactly. Yep. But other than that, man, SCA World Championship wrapped up. I think it's Clayton Boyer that actually won that. Awesome that. I also want to give out a longtime listener of the show, Brendan Nelson, a shout out. He took 13th in steak and 18th in ribs. So that's a pretty good showing for a Utah kid doing his thing.
He's got those ribs down, man.
Right, man. I think I don't want him. I don't want him nowhere near Blue Compass, but it's fine. It gives us somebody to chase.
Well, he's trying to figure out who he's going to cook with. Is Nate going to come up and cook, or is
I don't
Fidel
know.
going to come up and cook? I haven't heard from either one of them, so none
I'm
of them
open
signed
to.
up yet.
I'm open to a rib cook in my trailer anytime, so I'll draft him.
Yeah, I've got ribs down now that we've been doing the Friday night barbecue at the Pitmaster store in Layton. Ribs are just so dialed. I got it so dialed. They're just so perfect, man.
That is awesome, man.
It's been fun.
But yeah, we have a guest on tonight, Weez Barbecue. Earned his stripes in the backyard scene and went to the Kansas City KCBS backyard championships, and I do believe he took 8th. We will follow up to verify that, but
Yeah.
Working his ranks up, and we'll see if he's going to go pro, and maybe see if he's down to chase this Barbecue World Cup event as well. So let's go talk to him and see what this story's all about.
You got it. Let's go.
This is the single best investment you can make to become a better cook.
Thermopen 1 is the best thermometer I've ever had.
My thermometer of choice is ThermoWorks.
When it comes to quality that I can trust, this is the company that I go to over and over again.
There may be other thermometers out there, but there aren't other Thermopens.
Welcome to the show. Is it Weezy or Whizzes? How do I guess it's Weez?
It's Weez. Weez is Groovin Barbecue.
My bad. What is your first name? I didn't even catch that. I am the worst host ever.
Brian is my first name.
Brian. Yes, that is correct. How's it going, man? Welcome to the show. Wow.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's long Tuesday. Got back from vacation. I'm just scatterbrained, but we're here. We're dialed in now. So yeah, let's talk about how you got into this barbecue game, man. I'm pretty sure it started with a TV show or a smoker, or you were raised in it. So let's talk about it.
Well, I mean, I think back about 2018 or so, me and my wife, before we got married, we bought a house. We were moving in, and she bought me a Weber Kettle Deluxe Grill. I was 37, 38 at the time. Never cooked a steak in my life. Never, nothing, man. I mean, I wasn't raised around barbecue. You know, my grandparents are from Kentucky, so they burnt everything. They didn't season anything. So I spent a lot of my life not liking ribs and pork chop, and always thought barbecue was just sauce, you know, and started messing around a little bit. And then kind of around 2019, 2020, when COVID kind of took over, I used to be a drummer in a blues band, and they shut everything down up here, and I started cooking and met up with the local guy here, and we went down and helped him in Indiana, event called COVID Q, and from there I met Brian Dwyer and Brendan Dwyer from the Barbecue Bus, and told him I had a CDL, and I ended up driving the bus down to the World Invitational down in Mayetta, Kansas, and that was it, man. It kind of
hook, line, and sinker, huh?
Yeah. It took off from there, you know. So, but that's kind of how I got into it, man. Was a lot of it was just COVID, you know, and then I'd seen a show on YouTube. I was watching cooking shows, and it was back when they had the Royal at Arrowhead, and I said, "Yeah, that looks pretty fun." And then that was it's kind of what got me, and you know, I haven't looked back since. So
that is awesome, Jesse. I'm pretty sure you see people like this coming to the shop every day. I don't know what I'm doing, but let me get a grill, and the next thing you know, about 2 years from now, you're going to see him on the competition scene pop up.
Yeah, I had a gentleman walk in today. He goes, "Yeah, I saw your post about the backyard competition. How does one get started in that?" I said, "You got a smoker? Can you move it, and then just sign up for a competition? I'll send you." I sent out brand new teams. I sent them a nice spreadsheet as a checklist, and then I sent them a document how to become a barbecue team, and kind of lay it all out for them, make it really easy for them, really easy to get into competition barbecue. So it's kind of fun that way. And then help them along the ways, you know, give them some help with some flavor profiles and some cooking techniques, and get them started. Because my favorite thing is people are scared to death of brisket. And when they can have success on their first brisket, unlike myself, I mean, my first 8 briskets were absolutely inedible. So you can help help shorten that learning curve, and people get really excited about cooking after that.
Right. Yeah. I remember my first intro to competition barbecue. You probably know these guys, Rod and Roger from R&R Barbecue.
Yep.
They are the nicest guys after you get to know them. Let's be honest. They came off the Sam's Club tour. They dominated. They had this edge about them that was kind of like nobody can beat us type scenario, which they should have been in that situation, right? They had the rights to act like how they did. But man, after you get to know them, they will open up to you and just let you know everything that they know. And I was lucky to learn from them on some stuff, and I think that really launched me a little bit farther from taking their classes versus just kind of winging it, man. And it's cool that people like them, you, Jesse, myself now can just give out tips and just help the community out, man. Back in the days, it was not that easy to be able to get into barbecue.
Yeah, before they opened a
Competitive
restaurant, their R&R is probably the most winning barbecue team in Utah history.
Yeah.
I know T's up there, Fidel's up there, I'm up there, but I think they got 29 or 30 grand and reserve grand championships over the years. But
yeah.
And
Weez, what is your plan? Are you going to stay in the backyard scene for another season, or are you going to go jump pro and see if you can go get yourself a world championship?
Well, I think with the way their KCBS is changing things, that it's going to be next year. When you can cook 4 meat, 2 meat, it doesn't matter. If it's whatever it is coming down. Where I live up here in Chicago, majority of what we have is backyard. So that's kind of why I stayed backyard. That's one of the reasons is that, within 2 or 3 hours of me, I can compete in 6, 7, 8 events a year. Where if you go and cook 4 meat, you got to drive 8, 9 hours, And then on top of that,
there's not that many competition with the population of Chicago. You think there'd be a bunch of KCBS events in that area?
No, I mean, they used to have a bunch before I came along, but I mean, the thing I've heard from a lot of guys up here is just the, guys, stopped cooking under canopies and started bringing RVs and needing 50 amp power and all that. And it just got to the point where like a lot of places, it was more work than it was, an effort, I guess, to put it on. Where then when backyard came along, we would just go to Westmont and set up in a soccer field and cook. There was no trailers, there was none, and that's kind of, I think a lot of this up here is it's just easier to set up, cook one day and then go home, it's almost like SCA kind of, with the backyard,
Exactly.
And for me, I mean, this is, I think my 5th season going into it. And I'm headed to Nashville this weekend. That's going to be my first competition with a trailer. But I mean, I've spent 5 years sleeping in a tent, sleeping in the back of my car. I've probably put 100,000 miles on my 4Runner, and I just put 2 drums on the back and just travel, and I like to, I always like to cook. I mean, I've cooked, the Royal several times, Royal Oak Invitational, like I've done that, but, I don't have the money to, if I cooked 4 meat and, to cook a $300 brisket, I'd go and cook 4 or 5 events a year compared to 15, 16, 17, and that's kind of, so I think the cost of that, keeps a lot of guys out of that, and I wasn't around for the Sam's Club stuff, but I hear a lot about that. And I always say, I wish we could you just show up. It's everybody gets a brisket, everybody gets this. And I know a million people have talked about that, but everybody cook a choice brisket and everybody cook a couple racks of ribs from Sam's Club. And like I said, that's, I don't know if that's ever feasible, but, like I said, I kind of, I've been to several events where they provide you the meat, and I think that kind of makes it a level playing field, if you may, especially when it comes to like brisket, or even like I've cooked a couple events down here where they used to give you the ribs and they were awful. Like I said one time, I said, dude, if you're out here trying to promote your butcher shop, and this is the stuff you're giving the guys. I'm like, you think any of us are going to go to your butcher shop, dude? Like, I mean, it was literally, you could see that they got as much of the pork belly off there as they could. I mean, just as shiners. I mean, it was just, but everybody had the same thing, right? At the end of the day, we all had the same, you
Product.
know,
Yep.
Yeah.
Start with.
same product, the same kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Jesse, I think the Pitmasters podcast should have an event, just a barbecue event, OG style, no electronics, under a tent. Just
110 by 10, 2 drums.
yeah,
just no electronics, just everything, just traditional offset, whatever you want to just bring it. We should just do an event, even if it's just a backyard chicken and ribs for the day. We should just level the playing field a little bit. Just take it back to old school, just for fun.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
I'm interested. What drums are you running in your competition now?
So my first year and a half, I traveled with 2 Weber Smoky Mountains. That's all I had.
okay.
I didn't have any of the
All Harry Sue style.
Yeah.
I didn't have any of the gadgets or gizmos, or I mean, it was all set up. You know, I didn't have blowers and none of that stuff. And then I signed up to go cook down in Lakeland, and I signed up and didn't realizing it was a 4-meat contest, because at that point, if I'm going down there, I might as well have cooked. You know, because down in Florida they do a lot of 4-meat backyard. Well, had I known that, I'd have just signed up, cooked 4-meat. You know what I mean? So like a week ahead of time before I was leaving, I'm like, oh crap! I'm like, I got to cook brisket and pork down here, like, because I was driving down with Brian Dwyer from the barbecue bus, so I was just going with to hang out. I'm like, oh, there's a backyard event, yeah, I'll go cook that and hang out with you. Well, Bill from Triple H had one of the like OG gateways, so he brought that down for me to use. I used it. I'm like, dude, can I buy this? So I ended up buying it, bringing it back, and then ended up getting a second drum. So I'm running gateways now, and a lot of that is because of, you know, I just have a rack that hangs off the back of my 4Runner, and I can get 2 drums in it. And just like I said, using the Weber Smoky Mountains, it took me 3 trips to figure out how to flip the lid up and do all, because if I try to stack them the way they're supposed to, they fall with it. You know, they were falling.
Yep.
So I was pulling over and having to ratchet it. But when I brought a drum, I was like, this is great. I just sit it on here and strap it down and go. I don't have to worry about, you know, any of that. So I went into gateways, and I mean, I've cooked on Hunt Seckers. Buddy gave me a Super 55, which is, you know, great for catering. I mean, I use a lot of that stuff for catering and stuff, but it's all gateways, you know.
That is awesome. It just clicked with me why there's not a lot of competitions up in Chicago, because everybody's worried about who has the best Italian beef sandwich up there.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a coffee company here in Chicago called Dark Matter Coffee, and I took some of their, and I don't drink coffee, but I had to do an event. We served coffee, and I took their coffee grounds and made a rub with it, and we went down and cooked an event for them, and we did smoked Italian beef sandwiches with a coffee rub.
Oh man, I bet that was amazing.
Yeah, so people go ahead.
No, yeah, so that the Italian beef in Chicago is like people are super judgy about that, right?
Yeah, that and hot dogs and pizza.
Yeah.
Everybody says Chicago's deep dish pizza, but like it's mostly tavern cut up here, man. I mean, the deep dish obviously known for it, and that's what people eat. But you know, around here, man, it's all, you know, thin crust pizza. That's kind of what you're looking for, you know.
Giordano's.
I love a thin crust pizza, man.
Yeah.
One that folds but has crunch to it.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yep.
It's got to have the undercarriage. It's got to be stiff.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Crunchy.
You can still fold it. A big slice, you can still kind of New York style fold it, but it has to have that crunch to it.
It's got a crunch, yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Al's Beef?
Yep.
I went there, and that place was amazing. I wasn't quite all the way sober, and I remember it was amazing. It's amazing sober, right? Correct me, right?
Yeah, it's just like anywhere. Like up here, like every town has their Italian beef, right? Like there's a place by me that I always get. It's called a booty, is what they call it, and I always get my Italian beef dry on garlic bread with au jus on the side, and then you
don't get it. You don't get it dunked.
You don't dunk it, huh?
I am not a fan of my fingers going through bread when I eat it. So I like to pour a little bit of the au jus on there, but I want to be able to have it. Plus, if you get a sandwich like that and you don't eat it all, it's hard to go back and eat it if it's already soggy. And,
right.
So, I mean, there's usually not any left, but, you know.
I found out it's almost kind of disrespectful because they could put cheese on them, too. Is that wrong?
Nah, dude, I loaded up with mozzarella cheese, dude.
I figured they're selling it with them. Why would it, like if they're going to sell cheese as an option, Why is that disrespectful?
I mean, dude, there's a hot dog place up here called Gene and Jude's, and it always claims the #1 hot dog in the country. They don't. All they sell is hot dogs and tamales and fries, and you can't get ketchup on site. So we bring ketchup in the car to eat with our fries. You can't buy ketchup, and there was a McDonald's next to it that started charging for ketchup because so many people would go over there to get ketchup.
Wow.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Is that a category for your competition, Jesse? Man, tamale hot dog.
Dude, wouldn't that be interesting?
It'd be way good.
I just like hot dog, a plain beef hot dog with mustard. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
What about a
Mustard.
Mexican style hot dog? The LA dog, the bacon wrapped hot dog, some peppers, mayo, ketchup, mustard. Yeah.
Yeah, you just got to deep fry them, man. Get that ripper with the bacon. Yep, those are good.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah,
Have you ever had an LA style hot dog before?
No.
It's pretty much just a bacon wrapped hot dog with green peppers, onions, caramelized onions, and peppers, and then they do the mayo, ketchup, and mustard on it.
Oh, okay.
With
you ever heard
Serrano pepper that'll fry you. Don't ever get the pepper. Don't ever get the pepper.
Ever heard of a Maxwell Street?
No.
So Maxwell Street up here, I mean, it's completely changed, but in the 60s and 70s, Maxwell Street was known. I mean, people said, you go down there was, markets and blues play. You could see Muddy Waters playing down there on the side of the, side of the street anytime. And place started, and it's basically a grilled Polish sausage and mustard and caramelized onions on it. And it put it on a hoagie roll, dude. And it is absolutely, you can still go to the place that was one of the original places that's right. It used to be 24 hours a day. So if we went to Chicago and went to like a concert or something like that, we were always we're going over there. You just stop. And they have all these no parking signs. No one bothers you because the cops are parked there. I mean, you could go there, but you get out and you see rats the size of a dog down there running around,
Oh,
so,
man.
Wow.
So at least I think they were serving Polish sausage, but
Yeah.
Hey, it doesn't matter. It's all got all the nitrates in it, and it was going to kill everything anyway.
Yeah.
But that just sounds killer on a hoagie roll. Some caramelized onions. That's good.
Yeah.
What's crazy is that certain cities like Chicago have a certain food zone, right? They have a certain food that's popular throughout the entire city. A lot of East Coast places do that, but out west, it's not really that way. What do you think we have out here, Jesse? Is more Mexican food than anything?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah,
there's more Mexican restaurants in Utah than down in Mexico.
Right?
I got buddies that obviously live over the country and stuff like that, and buddies that have moved away from here and come back, and everybody says Chicago has the best choices for food. Anything you want, we have here. The East Coast has got stuff. You like you said, Mexican, but here you can walk 3 blocks and have you can go from Indian food to Korean food to Ethiopian. I mean, it's I mean, you can just walk around downtown, and I mean, my buddy went on like a 3-week thing where every day he went to a different Italian beef place, and I mean, in 3 weeks, in 3 weeks, he only made it to like 2 cities, 2 or 3 cities around here. So it's just, there's so much, I mean, there's some, places that probably shouldn't be open, but there's a lot of places around here that food's just, little hole in the wall stuff, but we don't have a Waffle House. And I tell everybody that I'm a truck driver. I said, dude, if they put a Waffle House by the truck stop, I'm like, people would pay for parking up here to go and eat Waffle House.
What about the barbecue scene though? Is there like a stand-up barbecue restaurant that you're telling everybody to go visit?
I mean, up here, my buddy Big Ed's is and then if you go to Chicago, it's Green Street. You got Green Street and you got Smoke. Smoke every year.
That's Leanne Whippin's place is Smoke, right?
No, that's his name's what is his name? Barry is his name.
I thought Leanne Whippin had a place up in Chicago that's crushing.
Yeah, I forgot the name of it, but yeah. But
yeah.
yeah, I mean, those are kind of the places. I mean, it's how barbecue is. Like I said, I do a lot of catering and private events and stuff now, and it's kind of, it's I just did an event for the Chamber of Commerce here in our town, And it was, I just did a podcast with one of the guys up here, and he said it was refreshing to have good food at one of those events. Because you know how it is, man. You go to a lot of that stuff, dude, and it's stuff that's been sitting around for a day, 2 days, where most of the stuff I'm doing, it's all, showing up fresh. You know what I mean? It's not, I don't have a restaurant, I have a commercial kitchen, so it's not like I made ribs and 4 days later I need to figure out what to do with them,
Right.
So
yeah, you're not vacuum sealing them and reheating them.
Yeah.
Nothing better than brisket, pork, ribs that have been cooked properly, stayed hot, and then served up fresh. It's so good.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh man, how am I doing? Am I disconnected? I feel like I'm kind of glitching out here.
Yeah, a little bit. It's all right though.
So what's your plans in the near future? You're staying in the backyard, but any plans to go pro at some point in time?
No, not. I'll next year. I think I'll probably cook a couple more just because of the rule stipulations aren't going to be there. But that was always the problem, is that if I went and won somewhere or something, like Ryan Kane from Damn Fine Beef and Swine, one of my best friends, he filled in RGC and couldn't, they wouldn't allow him to come back to backyard. So then it went from, then his expenses went from X to Y, you know what I mean? And that's kind of, for me, not saying that I would go out and win an event, you know what I mean? But like, I think that was the one thing that I always kind of shied away from. And like I said, I cook the Royal every year. I mean, this would be my 4th year cooking the Royal, but yeah, I mean, if there was more events around here, it might be different. But like I said, there's just not a lot. I think lacrosse, there was a double in lacrosse, which is like 3.5 hours away from here. And everything else is, like I said, everything else around here is trip down to Nashville, Southern Indiana. Like I said, I think Illinois probably only has a couple,
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
The guys in the backyard around here, we do the same thing. The only time they get forced into the pros is when they've got 2 grand championships.
Yeah.
So, because we do 6 to 7 backyard barbecue competitions a year, and then we put on a couple of pro events in Utah. So, trying to keep that scene alive and clicking. But it's the backyard scene is really to kind of train people, get them really involved in barbecue, and then obviously move them into the pro stuff. And backyard guys can go to the pro events and still come back to the backyard side in our area, because we allow it, because they don't have 2 GCs.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess my take on that has always been, I think, if you look at, the East Coast and the South, they've had backyard for 20 or 30 years, because that's just what's down there. And I've always said, like, someone shouldn't tell me where I have to spend my money. So if you come to me and be like, hey man, you got to go put 4 meats, I would just stop cooking, because you're basically telling me that I have to go and spend an extra $500, $600, $700, $800 to go cook an event. So I think at that point, there's a lot of guys that would just be like, well, then I'm, because let's face it, when you're playing that game, it's a pay to play game. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And to me, it's just if everybody used a $60 brisket, I think that would change the world. But guys are cooking $300 briskets. I think it's hard for a lot of guys, to come out here and cook,
to justify
30,
that.
Yeah, 30, 40 events, So that's been always my take on it. Is I think there's a lot of guys that, if you want to say backyard, that can compete. You go and look at the, Royal. You look at a lot of times these guys cook 4 meats. The guy that won brisket at the Royal last year, he's a backyard guy, but do you want to spend, $5,000 or $6,000 a year on brisket? Because you hear the 4 meat guys complain all the time about how expensive it is, and they got to stop cooking because it's so expensive. And that's why I like what KCBS is doing, is in this day and age, like, there's so much knowledge out there and classes and guys telling stuff, So to me, there really shouldn't be, I like I said, I love the idea that you want to cook 4 meats this week, you go cook 4 meats. You want to cook 2, you go cook 2. Brad Leininger wants to, cook 2 meats for 3 weeks. he comes and cooks. I think a lot of us guys, you know, you hear guys, oh, they're scared to cook against, 4-meat guys. And maybe some guys are, but a lot of us aren't. It's just like I said, a lot of it is the money part of that, and that's why I said I wish there was a way where you could just show up, $200 entry. We're giving you a brisket. Here's 3 racks of ribs, a couple pork butts, some chicken, go cook. You know what I mean? I think that if you want to talk about leveling the, playing field, you know what I mean? Especially with classes. I mean, guys take classes all the time, so.
Right. Yeah, but a promoter's going to go broke providing all the meats with
Exactly.
a $200 entry fee. You're going to eat up that $200 entry fee in just meats for everybody.
But you understand what I'm like, the gist of what I'm saying. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like, there's a lot of competitions lost and won on Tuesday when they go pick out their briskets,
Yeah.
It's $250, $300 for a Snake River Farms, but you're getting what you're paying for because it's a high quality piece of meat, and you kind of got to start there when you're in the 4-meat category, especially with some of these contests that have a good prize money, good prize pool for it.
Yeah.
And up here by us, a lot of the 4-meat, like Grant from QU, 2-time Royal, American Royal champion. Like, I remember he was asking me one time, he's like, I can't just come and cook, a couple of these 2-meat. I'm like, I don't know, dude, call KCBS, like, come cook with us, dude. So up here, it gives those guys an opportunity once they split the rules or whatever they're going to do to cook more, instead of not cooking for 2 weekends, they can come down here to, wherever it's going to, Morris, Illinois, or we got to double out in Rockford, like I said. I mean, to me, I think opening it up, it gives guys more opportunities to cook. It'll give guys that have, older people, right, that have a hard time cooking 4 meats and getting out there. Well, they, like, open it up, let them come back. I mean, get them back into cooking. I'm all about getting more and more people into competitions and cooking and stuff like that, and the easier you make it, I think the more people are going to come out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I don't even think there's, not that I can think of, Jesse, you might be able to, but there's no KCBS Backyard Master Series out west that I know of.
I don't know of any competitions because, to run a backyard competition and pay KCBS's fees, we've been putting on backyard competitions for, 12 years now.
Yeah.
I don't need their help. I've got my own scoring system,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with Texas. Talk to the guys in Texas. There's never been they got they got 6, 7 different, but they don't have any backyard down there. So that's kind of when you go down there, like, what's backyard? I'm like, well, like I said, but you go down there to the southeast and out east. I mean, that's been around for 20, 25 years. I mean, you go to Alabama and there's 40 contests a year, and I think there's 1 pro contest in Alabama. So like I said, you go down there, there's just not a lot.
Well, and down in Texas, they don't use certified barbecue judges either. There's a lot of man off the street stuff. So that's why you hear Chicken Pride and those guys where they do that. They call it the Texas tender, where they make their product, they overcook it so it's nice and soft because they've got to reach in that box and cut it with a knife and fork, plastic knife and fork. So they've got to make it extra tender so they can cut a piece and get it out of the box.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why the Rib Cook-Off Association has taken off so much, because that's just kind of, you just go cook. Like up here in Wisconsin, I think there's 10 or 12 of those this year.
Wow.
So that's kind of nice, where you just go set up. It's almost like SCA, right? You just go set up in the morning, you cook. And up here they're doing baby backs, St. Louis, and chicken wings. So you go set up, you cook, you make it home the same night. And I think that's why that's getting big, because it's not, up here you'll have a mix of KCBS judges and people, like you said, that aren't certified. So it's the same thing. You just, you cook the KCBS tender and then you push it a couple extra degrees, and have it. So like Bobby Oliver always says, if he can pull that bone out of there, he'll put that bone back in and send that, because that's what they're looking for,
Yeah, because
I love Bobby. Bobby's a cool dude.
Yeah.
The general public, they've always said, oh, well, I want fall off the bone ribs. I'm like, that's pretty simple. All you got to do is overcook them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
Yeah. The downside to, I think, any organization that's starting to come up, the Rib Cook-Off Association, the SCA, they all start off fantastic, and then they slowly snowball into this thing that it's hard for anybody to join in. You know, you'll see it through the Rib Cook-Off Association eventually that it's not just going to be a day in, day out event. People are going to be bringing trailers, they're going to be staying overnight. Just the events will just get longer and longer, kind of like the SCA. SCA used to be one steak, one ancillary, go home and be in bed, be done by 3. But now we're there from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. It's kind of crazy. I feel like we just need to let KCBS be the long cook, SCA rib cook-offs, and think backyards to that small time window, because I think that's a lot. It's a lot for somebody to just jump in and enjoy it when it's a 10, 12-hour day. It makes it hard, especially for a new guy.
Yeah. And I would say too that I think the one thing that I've noticed with like KCBS compared to some of those is I wouldn't say the camaraderie is better, but like when you say like it's overnight, right? You go and you set up for a couple of days, you have a lot more time to kind of hang out, sit around. And I mean, that's kind of what I like about it, is just, you know, you set up, you go to dinner, you have a bonfire, you kind of, not that you can't do those at an SCA or a rib cook-off or something like that, but that's kind of, we did a rib cook-off up in Wisconsin. And that was the nice thing, is we all went up a day early and set up and all got to hang out. You know what I mean? So it's like I said, I've definitely done the one-day events where you go and you set up, you do everything, you cook, you do awards, and you get home. And by the time you get home, you're like, man, I wish I would have just stayed the night down there, because it's, you know, like you said, it's a 16, 17-hour day when you're trying to turn and burn in one day, you know?
Yeah.
So like I said, I know up here a lot of times some of the rib cook-offs are show up the day of and cook, but some of them are, you can show up, you know, 1 o'clock the afternoon before, set up, you know, go to dinner, kind of hang out, you know, so it's a little more of a relaxed, let's say relaxed, you know what I mean, compared to just the one-day events, you know.
Yeah. Or you just decide to cook a hot dog on a Friday night.
Yeah.
Which is actually, I really don't mind that, because it's not a lot of effort going into it. If he would have said, like, you know, if, for example, Jesse, you would have said tacos, it doesn't sound like that much a difference, but there's a lot more prep work into going cooking a fresh taco there than there is a fresh hot dog.
Yeah.
It really is. Like, you know, a hot dog, I know I can throw on a smoker, you know, just let it do its thing, and then I can worry about the rest of the stuff. But other ancillaries, tacos, you know, it doesn't matter. Seafood, it takes a lot of work into it. Now you're cooking for 2 days straight, which a hot dog's just an hour or 2 at the most. If you're Christina Dunyan, you know, it's going to be 7-hour hot dog, but it's going to be amazing.
So what did you do? I can't remember what you did on your hot dog last time we did the hot dog contest.
I did the birria.
Oh, right. It was very birria forward.
Yes.
The hot dog was not the star of the show.
Yeah. So we're going to make some adjustments.
And then Cole did a simple bacon wrapped hot dog and crushed it and won. He's the manager of our 5 Point store in Ogden, and the flavor profile was just on point.
Just do an LA dog.
Well, that's like Gillespie going down to the Jack and turning in, you know, what, chili dogs or whatever it was, and winning ancillary or whatever it was. So.
Oh man, turned it into classic chili dog. We'll swing by, go across the street and grab Wendy's chili and put it on there. It's a recognizable flavor.
Yeah. I forgot what.
Dude.
Yeah, there's a burger cook at one of the events we go to, and we went out and had some little place, dude. It was like $3. You get a couple hot. I mean, it was probably one of the cheapest places we've ever been. And the hamburgers were really good, and we were all like, "Let's just bring these back and just toss them in the box." And like, here you go, man.
Well, it's like Q39 in Kansas City. I mean, their burn-ins; those are turn-in worthy burn-ins that you get at his restaurant.
That is crazy.
So good.
Do they? Is that they only do those like one day a week, right? They save them up throughout the week, or
I believe so. I think they do the Friday thing for burn-ins. They just save all those points, and they grill them. they grill them before they cut them, and it just, you can really get that grilled flavor to them. It was just, I was there with Jason Stuckey and the owner of the World Food Championships from Tribe MMA. He was there. It was just, Fidel was there, Curtis Nations was there, and everybody's like looking at each other and going, "Man, I would turn these burn ends in."
Yeah, man, I'm
So
glad Team
good.
America went away. By the way, I like those guys, but they were whooping our ass day in,
America?
day out.
So do you guys turn in burn ends out in Utah in your boxes?
Only if they're good.
Most people don't.
Yeah, as I say,
They
it's kind
have
of,
they have to be spectacular to turn them in.
yeah.
They have to be on
So
point. They can't have any bounce to them. They have to fall apart, and they have to meet that certain sweet criteria. It has to
Yeah,
have
they
the
have
meat
to
candy
be
point.
squishy little marshmallows.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always love when people, if I do pork belly sandwiches for catering or something like that, pop-ups, be like, these are kind of fatty. Like, yeah, dude, it's
pork belly.
It's pork belly. It's what it's a brisket burn in. It's supposed to be fatty. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So, are you have you chased sponsorship? Are you a sponsored cook team, or are you still just trying to stay in your lane, just do your thing?
No, I probably 4 years ago I got my first sponsor. So I'm sponsored with Smoke and Ghost, Paul Buab, JDQ Barbecue, Josh DeWitt,
Josh
Royal
is a
Oak,
stud.
yeah, Royal Oak, Heath Riles. We got a knife sponsor, Rebex Cutlery. I got a honey sponsor out here, Springer Mountain Farm Chicken, Wichita Packing. That's where I get all my ribs from here in Chicago. So yeah, I got a handful. But I mean, a lot of that is,
That's nice when you're a backyard team have sponsors like that.
Right? Yeah.
yeah. I mean, a lot of it. I do cooking classes up here. The local community college just hired me to do a couple, like, continuing education. We're just doing intro to. I'm taking like 3 Weber kettles out and just showing people how to get into, cooking in the backyard. You don't have to go out and spend, $1,000, $2,000 to get, because I think a lot of times I think that's scary. I mean, you own a barbecue store, so people come in and see prices, and it's just like, dude, just go start out with a, kind of like what I did. Go get you a cheap Weber, smoke a pork butt, a couple racks of ribs on it, and then you kind of build from there. So. But yeah, I mean, I do a lot of classes and stuff like that up in the area here. So, and then catering. I do a lot of catering. So,
yeah, because drums these days are more expensive than a really good entry level pit.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I push a lot of people to Weber Smoky Mountains. When people are asking what they need for the backyard, I say, dude, go get a Weber Smoky Mountain. Get the 22-inch. Don't get the 18. Don't, because you're gonna get the 18. I'm like,
and you're too small.
Yeah, and you're going to want the 22. I just go get a 22, and it's just kind of. And I've had, I think, 5 or 6, friends that have got those, and they absolutely love them for what they need in the, cooking in their backyard for their family or friends or whatever. So I love Webers, man. Like I said, I may cook on gateways, but a lot of it's just the ease of travel and moving them. But Webers are, but Webers are absolutely incredible cookers.
I love the system on Hunsaker's. His wheels are just it's so easy to move his drums around.
Yep.
And I like that bottom vent because it'll eliminate any wind issues you might get. It just kind of stops the wind from like taking over your drum if it starts to run on you.
Yeah. The Hunsaker definitely has it dialed. I'm thinking about making the jump into one of those, but honestly, Jesse, I want one of your offsets, man. I want something in the backyard that's just but I've been thinking about it, man. I want one of those offsets, just get the old school traditional barbecue flavor, right? There's nothing that tastes better than brisket that comes off an offset.
Well, and that I can't wait to get the remodel done so I can take one home and have one in my backyard.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the next thing I'm looking for catering is next year I'm looking to get into a 500-gallon with Santa Maria on it, just because of, and I do a lot of tailgates up here. I'm doing supposed to be doing some stuff for the Bears next year, but we'll see where they're gonna be in Indiana or Chicago, wherever the hell they're gonna be at up here. you know,
The
but I
Indiana
do
Bears.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
Doesn't sound
Yeah,
right. It doesn't belong in Indiana.
Yeah, I don't. They said that if they move, they're going to keep the Chicago. So, but I don't. We'll see. We'll see where they go. So, I mean, they might move to Arlington Heights, which is like 35 minutes from me. So that'd be good for me. It'd be close for all the tailgates and the catering and all that stuff like that. You know. So
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you like with tri-tips, man, if you can smoke them, give them a little bit of smoke, give them an hour, and then you just sear them off. There's nothing better than a really good tri-tip.
Yep.
Agreed 100%. Reverse seared tri-tip is home run.
Yep.
You guys ever tried to Trisket? I know you've tried to Trisket before, Jesse. You like them?
Triskets, when we've done our tri-tip competitions, Trisket wins. It always wins. It just because it's so tender. Because if you haven't marinated it properly or jacarted it properly and get that muscle to relax, you know, when you try to turn it in at a medium temperature, sometimes it's just tough and chewy. When you do it brisket style, Trisket, that's what's. I mean, Cole's won. Cole's our Cole Plow from our 5 Point store. He's won a couple of our tri-tip competition because he does a Trisket and it's just like butter. So good.
Yeah, I'm team Trisket. I always joke with buddies up here. If I want a steak, I'll go get a ribeye. I don't need a you know. And that's like you said, because tri-tip. I mean, I've had them. I've made them where they're really good. There's other times you kind of have them and you're like, you know. But I always make the joke up here. I said, just go get a ribeye, man. You know, it's like for Thanksgiving when I do catering, I don't do whole turkeys anymore. I tell people I do turkey breast, dude. If you want a turkey leg, go to the Renaissance Fair. Like I don't. You know, we're just gonna cook turkey breast, man. You know, and then once they have my buddy said we need to get shirts that says you're lucky I know how to cook a turkey breast, because everybody says they're dried out, and then they have a comp guy make them one, and they're like, what the hell is this? It's like,
right.
You know, once you have a good turkey breast, it's hard to ever go back to, you know, full turkeys.
I do a full turkey for my Thanksgiving Eve as the sacrificial bird, but for the meal it's all turkey breasts, because we did 28 turkey breasts on Tuesday and 48 on Wednesday before Thanksgiving for our customers, and they just go crazy for them. Like, this is the best turkey ever. I'm like, because you can take it to 180, 190, and it's still going to be moist.
Yeah, my new thing is
you screw it up.
My new thing is buying a big bird, the whole bird, and then taking the breast off myself, and then just cooking the legs and thighs separate. That way, the dark meat's still there if people want it. But if I'm just taking the breast meat off the entire carcass and rolling them up, and it's so much easier.
Just spatchcock it.
Yeah. No, then you got to worry about trying to slice it off the bird. It's just so much easier when you have those breasts. All you got to do is just pull them out and just slice them.
We haven't eaten at Thanksgiving here in like 5 years. I cater in the morning, everything's out by noon, and my in-laws take us out to dinner every Thanksgiving and Christmas. So for me, I don't even it's great. You know, like I said, I think they came over. It's like 5 years ago, and I was in the middle of just trying to get all our dinner ready, and you know, and cater, and it was just, I think they got stressed by watching me be stressed, and they're like, should we go out next year? I'm like, are you guys paying? Like, yeah. I'm like, yes, absolutely. So now every year we just go out to dinner, and they go to the same. I mean, you know, my in-laws are like 80. They go to this old place that 30 years ago it was hopping, right? Now it's just where old people go, right? It's where we got to go. Yeah. So this year for Christmas they were closed. So I said, why don't we try this new place out, which is a steakhouse up here? And we went, and her parent, you know how people get, you know, we all get set in our ways, and I only like to eat this. We went to this new place, and like, well, I don't know how it's going to be. I'm like, well, the steaks are $50 or $60, so it's probably going to be pretty good. And they
better be.
And I pitched in for half the dinner. I said, I'm going to pay for half the dinner. I said, because I'd rather come here and have this than go to the other place where, you know, they always get the turkey meal, and when it comes out, you know, as cooks, you look at it, you're like, that's what you're getting. Like, you don't ever order that from me, and then you're going to come here and say this is so delicious,
right?
You know, and then they'll talk. You know, they'll have the pie come out, like, oh, they got the best pie here. I'm like, dude, just let me know when you want, and I can order some from Performance Food Group if you guys want. Or I can order you a whole pie for what you just paid for one piece. They're not making pies back there.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah, I think this summer, Jesse, it's going to be the year of the flank steak and skirt steaks for me. I want to master those. I think I want to like really nail them every single time.
Yeah, I love skirt steak. If
it's done right, and it has to be cut right too.
Yeah. There's a restaurant depot up here by me that you go on like Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and I mean I made friends with the manager of the meat department, and dude, he'll text me and be like, hey dude, I got 16 pork butts 25% off because they're a week from going out of code. Like I just picked up skirt steak, I think for like $5.95 a pound on discount, like 10 pounds of it. So I mean, I'll go in there and dude, I got 5 freezers. I'll just go into every discount thing, dude. I'll just like, yep, I'll take that. I never cooked that, but I'll take that. Yep. I mean, it's, they got, though I just picked up, was it 80 pounds of chicken wings for like $71 because it was discounted
80
out.
pounds. Wow.
Yeah.
I remember when Smithfield was going to get rid of their extra tenders, Matt Hansen from Crooked Pigs up in Boise, Idaho, he let me know that they're discontinuing them. I think he put like 200 in his freezer. I think I put like 120 in my freezers. Just because that's my favorite rib to cook for competition, but you can't get those anymore. But so we've been doing IBP St. Louis cut ribs on Fridays at the store, and there are half of those are competition quality ribs. They're well marbled, they're thick, they're 4.5 and down. They're just money.
Yeah. Our Walmart up here carries Smithfield ribs.
Yeah,
but it's not the extra tenders.
They don't have extra tenders anymore because extra tenders was in a brine solution, so they're legal for KCBS and Backyard, but they're technically brined. So it's a way to it's kind of a little cheat code when you're doing competitions because you can overcook those just a little bit and they still stay on the bone, which is nice about those.
Yep. Yeah, I think when I first started, that's what I was cooking. It was easier to find because you could find those super tenders everywhere up here. You couldn't find Prairie Fresh, and then all of a sudden Prairie Fresh came into, started being everywhere when they were done with that. Yeah, like I said, I don't know what the Smithfields are. They have their price of regular. I just see them in the middle thing at Walmart. I never look at them, but I have a buddy that still swears by them. So.
Yeah, most teams are cooking the Prairie Fresh stuff these days because the extra tender's gone away, and I think Smithfield's ribs have kind of declined in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So.
Well, cool. Is there anything else that you want? Any other shout outs you want to shout out before we let you go tonight?
No, man. I think throwing the shout out to my sponsors is kind of was good enough for that. So.
That is awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I want to get you back.
How can people follow you on social media? Give them some of your tags.
You can go to Facebook under Weez's Groovin Barbecue, which WEE''S Groovin with the apostrophe at the end, and then Instagram. I have a TikTok, but I don't put much on there. Everybody tells me I need to, but I always feel awkward doing videos, and how a lot of people are, So.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Yeah. And then we'll reach back out to you after you knock out a few pro comps and check in with you and see how those 4 meets are going with you.
Hey, I did take second in chicken at the American Royal. So it's not too bad.
Pretty solid. That is pretty solid.
That's
I think I was 16th in ribs. So not bad.
That's 16th in ribs is not, I think I had 19th in chicken.
Yeah.
And we were there when it was at Arrowhead Stadium, one of the last years it was there. There was 635 teams. It was crazy.
Wow. Yeah, last year there was only a little over 400, I think, 415, 420. So, and then usually at the Royal, I think this might be my 4th year. I cook we have a whole compound. It's usually JDQ, me, and then last year it was Justin West. Those guys from Texas came up and cooked. We all cooked in a big compound there. So,
yeah, we sell a ton of JDQ in our stores.
Yeah,
his sweet garlic is so good,
dude. It's what did we just put that? Oh, I put that on. I cooked 180 pounds of corned beef and that's what I seasoned it with. Was all sweet garlic. So Yeah. Josh is one of my best friends, so he's a great dude, and his rubs are just, I mean,
He's a
everything
stud.
he's putting out, dude, is just incredible. So
All my bottles are empty.
Yeah, try that. Try that on some pork chops. It just crushes.
Yeah. So,
Cool.
all right. Well, thanks for having me,
All right,
guys.
thank you, man. Thank you, appreciate it.
Thanks,
You'll have a
sir.
good night. And then speaking of social media plugs, make sure you go follow the Pitmasters podcast, and then also Pitmasters
Like
Supply
and
Company.
subscribe.
Yep,
Like and subscribe.
exactly. All righty, guys. You guys have a good evening.
Have a good one.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thanks.